Welcome to Coily Crowns. I'm Ashante.
And I'm Lori, and welcome to our Queendom.
If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, be sure to hit that subscription button below, like, and share our page. So today we have a special episode. We are doing a special 420. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. But so we're doing a special 420 episode, and we have a special guest. So would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you for having me. My name is Lawrence Malcolm Williams. I used to own a dispensary in California, the Los Angeles County area, and just want to see if I can help those who have questions about 420, what 420 is. So.
Okay, well, let's start there. What is 420 for anybody that might be watching, don't know what that is in reference to?
420 is like cannabis, marijuana, aka holiday. It's like our national holiday, independence type day. For those who might not know what 420 started from, let's see how I can break this down. 420 began back in the 70s. It was the group called the Waldos. It's a group of students in Northern California, San Francisco, and they used to meet up after school around 420, and it just lasted. I think it was back in 70. I don't know. It's in the 70s, but so that's how it started, and then it just became a "Where's Waldo" kind of thing, the Waldos, and we just took it from there, from them. They used to do it.
Wait, y'all colonized them? You took it from them.
Well, we didn't colonize them, but we just, we pay homage to them.
Okay.
So.
Okay, well, thanks. I learned a lot right there. That was a lot.
All right, that's good. We start good.
So we know that the cannabis industry has really boomed in like the last 10, 15 years?
Yeah, it's really taken off.
Right. And, of course, prior to that, it was always this negative connotation to smoking marijuana. A lot of the drug use, going back to our childhood, say no to drugs, dare. All of that. Yeah. Right? But then there was just this shift of where it started becoming more legal and acceptable, and then the different states started to legalize it, and whole industries came out of it. So why did you decide to enter the cannabis business?
That's a good question. Because after I was a part of that DARE and Say No to Drugs campaign as a kid too, and I heard all of the sayings, marijuana is the gateway drugs to everything else, cocaine, everything else. And I used to believe that, but then after I started doing research and started seeing some of the healing properties of it for different segments and people, I was like, And then I started doing more of a deeper dive. And what I realized is it was scheduled to be a $100 billion industry by 2024. And this was years ago, about 10 years ago. And so I was like, okay, keep that in the back of your mind. And then about 5 years ago, I started taking the steps to really buckling down and trying to own a dispensary, and found out a lot about it. So I wanted to be a part of that 100 billion. Now it's a lot more. It's I think about 4 trillion by 2030. It is a booming industry, but that's why I got involved.
Okay. So prior to you closing your dispensary, what was the steps that you took to get into the business, get it open? Were there any challenges that you faced? How did you overcome those?
So there are a lot of challenges with owning a dispensary, or even thinking about owning a dispensary. So the steps that you have to go through is, one, you have to do the research. You have to know your area or your state and your local laws. And for me, I did open mines in California. So California was like maybe the first US state to really take off and open it up and have it where it could be used for medical purposes, and then, you know, anyone can use it. But the steps I took in my process, I did the research. I didn't know as much about different strains of cannabis and everything, so I had to do the research. Then I had to meet with lawyers, had to get lawyers on retainer. So I currently have three different legal teams who handle my business with the cannabis industry. I have my general counsel. And let me say this, what you might not know is there's, you know, like for lawyers, there's like a division for criminal, civil, and like family court, that kind of lawyer. A whole industry of cannabis lawyers.
Wow.
It is a huge industry for legal. So I have my general legal, I have my tax lawyer, and then I have my specialty, a lawyer. So I have three different groups that I pay to help me, because you have to know every law and everything, because it's still industry that's not accepted on the US government side. Right. So you have to really be strict and strategic about what you do. So the process to own it is you have to fill out forms, of course, to get your licenses. You have to fill out your license form for your county, for your city, and the state where you're trying to open your dispensary. We're just going to do dispensaries right now. And you have to bid. So you submit your application. They only allow a certain amount of licenses, and you have to bid on those licenses. Wow. And it is extremely competitive. And when I say extremely competitive, I mean it is cutthroat. The cannabis industry is not a friendly kumbaya type industry. It is extremely competitive.
So quickly, just a quick question. So the bid, you're bidding to the county to get a license. So the county is really just getting money, right? The highest bidder, correct, they'll give that license to. Right. What do they do with that money? Do you know what, or that's just for them?
They're supposed to reinvest in the community, and, you know, say no to drugs campaign and stuff like that. So usually, just so most people are familiar with it, or I'll speak. My speaking is from more of a California standpoint, and a Denver, Colorado standpoint. Most cannabis shops are in warehouse districts, so you're not in like the public eye per se. So you're not right there next to Walmart or school. You're in a warehouse district, so you're like off the beaten path somewhat. But yes, they are supposed to use that money to reinvest into the community.
Okay.
The bidding process, you're competing. So, for example, they only allow a certain amount of licenses each year or each quarter. So they might have 5 licenses available, and you have 100 people or 100 companies bidding on those 5. And it's really, when I say, that's what I mean by competitive. You have 100 people going for 5 slots. It's really cutthroat. Some people have bribed officials.
I was going to ask about that.
And still have not received the license.
Wow.
So I've heard of those kind of things, but you try your best. You will have your team that works the system. That's part of having the lawyers and your advanced team kind of thing to go through. But once you do get your approval for the license, you have to adhere to strict laws. You You can only be open certain times of day. You can only be the license. Oh, let me take this back. Licenses are only for certain areas, like I said, a warehouse district. So they have certain areas zoned for those licenses. But once you do get your license, you have to you have to adhere to the strict laws of the city, the county, and the state. And all of those you would think would be the same, but they're competing, have competing interests as far as what they want from you and what you have to do. But you have to be open a certain amount of hours, or you can only be open a certain amount of time. You can't, for example, you can't be open past 10 p.m. But you can be open at 6 a.m. So, they don't want a lot of people congregating, late at night.
Right.
The stereotype of in the alley kind of thing, buying marijuana. But you also have to have security.
Sorry.
You also
go ahead.
You also have to have security, a certain amount of security, and that's just for your protection. And just so you know, this is usually a cash industry. So this is not you going in usually swiping your credit card like. The majority of dispensaries only take cash.
Oh, so you need security.
Yeah. So, for example, for me, there was security. I had, and this is standard for a lot of dispensaries. You'll have the security that people see, and then you'll have the security people don't see. So you'll have your security up front. You'll buzz people in to your door. You'll have a door. You have a certain amount of people you allow in at a certain time. You buzz them in. Your security is right there. You have maybe 2 or 3 armed guards there. You'll have armed guards behind the counter area. And you'll have armed guards at the back door. And you'll have armed guards, where the workers are, looking back, your staff, just so they feel safe as well, in case anything pops off. So you're looking to have maybe 8 to 14 security officers at one time. And that's not including your regular staff. And that's just because it is a cash industry. So you have security that have to go with the person making your deposits. You don't make deposits, like for restaurants. I grew up in the restaurant industry. So you would, after a certain time, you have somebody go do the drop box or just deposit the money into the ATM drop box area. You don't do that with the cannabis industry. You have to fluctuate when you do your drops because you don't want to do them on a specific pattern. So you don't do it every day at 8 o'clock or every day at 7 o'clock, So you have to really have a strategic plan on how do you handle your money as well.
Wow.
Hope I didn't talk too much,
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Once you get that license, I mean, the fact that it takes so long to, go through the bidding process, how long is that license valid?
It is valid for depending on which license, but usually it'll be valid for 5 years.
Oh, okay.
It's not that long, but it is long enough.
Right.
The licensing process, let me say this as well. So you'll turn your application, it'll be maybe 3 months to maybe 18 months before you hear back on your
That's a long time. Wow.
It's like sometimes it's really quick, but I'll say the norm is you hear back around 12 months, like a year after your application.
But you have to carry those expenses with all those lawyers and everything until you can actually open.
That's right.
Because money. Wow.
Yeah.
You have to have them on retainer.
So when the license expires, year 5, you have to rebid,
you have to rebid, or you have to close your shop.
Wow. So I can see how competition would really be steep, because those people who are probably nearing the expiration of that license are competing with the people that are new to the market. So though I'm thinking they would probably grant those businesses as long as there's lucrative. No.
Not all the time. So here's what happens in the industry as well. You'll have your like little shops, like what I had, like the mom and pop kind of shops where you have like regular owners. Then you have these conglomerates that come and buy up, like get like several licenses. For example, there's a dispensary in San Diego County, or San Diego City as well, called True Leaf. And what they do, and they're a great operation. So just like with any industry, you have to know your competition. You have to scout out everybody. Even if not in your city, you still need to scout them out. True Leaf has a nice system where they have buses, like the little not mega buses, but the little what are they called? Coach buses, the coach buses. They'll come and pick you up from your hotel in downtown San Diego and bring you to their shop, and then take you back. Of course, you buy, take you back, and they'll allow you to smoke on their bus or whatever. But they'll come pick you up, and they have like 4 buses that are circulating through the San Diego area. They come pick people up, bring them to the shop. You stand in line, you buy your products, and then they'll take you back. So, and they own San Diego. They have shops in San Diego, Northern California. They have something in Las Vegas now as well. So you have these big companies that are coming in, and you're competing with them, where you have to have someone come into your shop.
Wow.
So
it's almost like a tourist attraction, because in California, right, it's open. You don't have
to have California, right?
Reasons. So you almost can make it as a trip and plan it and do that. Very interesting. Okay.
Yes. So people come in. So you have 2 types of buyers. You have your medical cannabis buyers. So you have your medical cannabis card, and I probably should have brought my wallet, but I would have to go find my card. But you have to show your medical card to get the medical discount.
Okay.
That's what's called recreational user, and that's anybody who wants to come in off the street. You don't have to have a license, or you can come in from another state as long as you have a driver's license to show that you're above 21. Then we're fine. And just so you understand a little bit more, their taxes on cannabis are 2 different ways. So you have your medical cannabis tax, and then you have your recreational cannabis tax. And of course, the medical taxes for medical card users is going to be cheaper than the recreational. So like Laura, you might come in with a medical card, and your tax might be 19 to 21%. Shantae might be coming in recreational, and hers is going to be, I know, hers might be 29 to 33%.
Whoa.
I mean, it's based off of city, state, laws.
That's so wild. Okay, so kind of going back to the licenses, there's the different, or what we're just talking about now, the medical, the recreational. What are the types of licenses?
Licenses?
Yeah, and what's the different parts of the business, I guess? So is it just recreational? Is it just the medicine part? What else, I guess, is
Gotcha.
skills?
So what types of licenses? That's a really good question. So there are different types of licenses that they have. You have a license for a dispensary. So the dispensary to be strictly, they also have specialty. So you can do just medical marijuana use only. So a medical cannabis license only. Then it could be for a dispensary. And then there's just a dispensary license where you can sell both. There's also a license for cultivation. There's a license for manufacturing. There's licenses for delivery. And the delivery has the most licenses. So that's a delivery service. Someone you call and they bring it to you. So there are more of those, but licenses, but they have more stricter guidelines, and they can only operate certain times of day as well. But the common licenses are for dispensaries, for cultivation, and then for manufacturing. And manufacturing is, producing different products. Cultivation, I should probably say it. I'm talking in jargon, but cultivation is like the growers, the people. You have to have a license to grow. Now, a regular individual can grow 2 immature plants and 1 mature plant in the state of California.
And how do you, I guess when you had your dispensary, where would you get your product from? Did you grow yourself or did you work with another company?
I worked with a grower.
Okay.
So I worked with a grower and I had a chemist. So chemists are really popular for cannabis people. So I worked with a chemist and I had a grower, a cultivator, and I usually bought my different products from them. And towards like about year and a half, 2 years ago, I got a second group because you're always competing to try to lower your costs as well, your overhead. So I had 2 different cultivators that I used.
And going back to you saying that you kind of scoped out your competition, can you talk about the type of people that were in this business? What was the diversity like?
As far as owners or
like you said, there's different groups, growers, or like across the market.
The majority of the owners of dispensaries are corporations or conglomerates, people who band together. But now it's being more diverse. It is diversity. It's slowly seeping in. There are not that many African American owners. I know the industry is trying to change. We're trying to break the bubble. But for example, I'll give you some of for California. For California, they're former basketball players who are in the industry who own dispensaries. Whoopi Goldberg owns maybe 12. It used to be, but I think she added 2 more. But she owns 10 to 12 dispensaries throughout California. But you wouldn't know that.
Right.
They're not saying, hey, this is Whoopi Goldberg's. You don't see it that way.
Right.
But Whoopi owns about 12, but mostly it's celebrities, people with a lot of money, or people banding together for ownership. So they come together. So you might have 4 or 5 different group people come together, and they'll have their own conglomerate, and they buy up this dispensary here, get that license, go somewhere else, get their license as well.
Wow.
You'll see they're by in California, Denver, Vegas, and they're starting to expand out across the country now, but that's what you'll see.
Did you have any interest in establishing business in other states that have started to legalize?
Yes. So I actually was in the process, and um, I was in the process of opening a dispensary in Denver. I had a young partner who I was going to do that with. We were opening one in Denver. There's some other stuff, even though I don't have my dispensary right now, there's some stuff that I can't discuss that is on the horizon, but that's going to be happening later this year and next year. So the end of 2021, beginning of 2022 is going to be a really huge uh, moment for myself and some other people. But
so you have
I
to come back and tell us once you're ready to
I will
broadcast
expose it out. Yes. Yes. Everything. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. But that being said, I did look at other states. I did look at Denver because they were an emerging market. Did look at Toronto before Toronto went live about 2 years ago. I did look there as well because they're really some of the emerging markets for cannabis. Of course, California, but they're becoming oversaturated in California. But California's a huge state. But California, Denver, Toronto, then you'll have Massachusetts and Vermont is trying to look as well, but they're usually doing medical. And you have your own little states, except for the Bible Belt, that will do like medical marijuana right now. For example, Florida, where we all are from, Florida has a medical marijuana license right now. Maryland has it. Virginia has it as well. But you'll see some of these states open it up more a little bit.
How did you advertise in those? Because, like you said, California has become oversaturated. So, how did you advertise?
I advertised, don't laugh, but I had a billboard.
Okay.
I mean, you'll see like the big companies have their billboards. I spent most of my money, my advertising dollars on billboards. Closer to like off the freeway where you can say, hey, this exit, is go here and then you turn here. But yeah, I spent most of my advertising dollars. And as a person who has a marketing and background as well, I should know better. But I spent the majority of my dollars on a billboard because I thought I would get the most exposure. And that's how I saw other bigger dispensaries doing theirs. So that was the most ideal dollars for my buck.
Okay. So going back to as a dispensary, how do you find your partners who are cultivating and that you can get your supply? Like, is there a list? Is it word of mouth? How do you suggest you find it?
How do you suggest you find it? You word of mouth. You want to go with word of mouth. You don't want to really go for lists. You want to talk to someone who's bought something from someone. So you want to try out different products as well. For example, you want to have a cultivator who has really good soil because that means your cannabis is going to be of better quality, which in turn you can sell it at a higher price. But I did it by word of mouth. I knew someone who knew some people, and just go ahead. No, I was just going to say, just speaking of the soil, your soil is really important for where you get your cannabis. I don't know if you've ever heard the term, this is really trash, marijuana, or this is really good kush or something like that. For example, the taste of marijuana will be different in California versus in Las Vegas, because Las Vegas is the desert, so their soil is more desert sand, versus in California you have, you know, different soil types. You're close to the ocean, so you have that minerals coming into the soil. So you have to look at that. And versus going to Denver, they're going to be at a higher elevation, so their soil is going to be much more nutrients in than what it would be in Vegas or in Maryland or Virginia, something like that. So that all plays a part where you buy. I say that to say that plays a part where you buy your supply from, because you want to make sure you have to research the soil, the person, the strain. You know, make sure the strain is effective in what you're trying to do.
Okay. And what type of products did you sell? Was it just cannabis, the leaf product, or did you also venture into edibles or the
Oh
oil?
yeah, I had edibles. I had the leaves, of course. I had the kush, but I had edibles. I had oils, bath bombs, chapstick, hot sauce, barbecue sauce.
Wait, what?
Uh,
I hadn't heard of barbecue sauce. Okay.
you want to say it again? I'm sorry. I'm
I
sorry.
hadn't heard of barbecue sauce. Like
Yeah,
cannabis
yeah,
barbecue sauce. Okay.
Bath
yeah,
bombs? You just soaking in well, I guess that's
yeah,
the relief for your body. Like that's
yeah.
you put it into like
For
freezing
people,
and stuff.
for people, like for example, my wife is not a smoker. She doesn't like the smell of cannabis or anything like that, but she'll use that bath bomb. So,
Okay.
but and then you have like gummies and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay.
But what else? I say chapstick, uh, lotions,
Yeah.
creams, like salves for your back and stuff like that. Um,
So
Now,
you sold it. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, now using those type of products like the bath bombs or lotion, does that get you high, or do you like
no, you don't
what?
get high.
You don't. Okay.
So you don't get like high, like you think, oh, I'm falling out. No, what it does is it relaxes your muscles in your body.
Okay.
So it's not that strong of TCH in it, but it relaxes your body.
Okay, touch on that. So there's TCH,
THC. What did I say? TCH, THC. Sorry.
Okay, that's the part that gets you high, right? And then there's another part that's for the medical, right?
Mm-hmm. So the higher the THC, the higher what people consider to be high. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, but for bath bombs, for like say for example, chapstick. You have chapstick. You're not going to get really high by putting on, a glaze of chapstick per se. You'll feel like a little tingle, and you'll feel something, but you're not going to feel like, oh, I'm high without smoking. No, it doesn't work like that. So, but if you use the whole bottle of barbecue sauce all at once, or like maybe one piece of chicken or something, you might really feel that. Like,
but if you use like creams and chapstick and bath bombs, do those things show up on like a drug test, or
no,
is it just if you
it's not that high of
okay.
THC.
Okay.
So no. So they're not gonna show up. What they're looking for is more of the edible, or maybe like the actual kush, or if you smoke something like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Tay, any other questions? I feel like he gave us a whole lot of
I'm sorry.
information.
I know. No,
No,
really
that's
sorry.
good.
Thank you.
I was just talking. I feel bad.
No, because we had all these questions and you answered them like one by one by one. So we're like,
Really?
go ahead.
There we go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I was just going to say real fast, people get the notion like, oh, it's just young people coming into dispensaries like to get high or something. You know, I'm gonna come in and get high just to buy stuff. No, that's not really true. You'll find like a lot of customers, they range from like 21 to like 90. I've seen everybody come in. I've seen a lady come in to buy for her and her husband, and she was in her like her 70s or 80s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just to help. So just to help them. So you see a wide range of people. So I think that's a huge misconception that the only people who are coming in the dispensary are these young people who that's not true. It really isn't true. You'll see older people come in, or elderly people come in. You see like people in their 40s, 50s come in. Everyone's coming in for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
For example, some people might come in for the sativa because they want to get high. Then some people might come in for indica because they're trying to relax a little bit. You know, they're stressed out at work, so they just want to, you know, just relax and, you know, or they might come in for what's called a hybrid. They want the high and the relaxation effect. And then you'll have like your cancer patients who will come in, or someone who is struggling with nausea. They might come in, and so you need to know what's going on with them.
Mm-hmm.
Who might be, like I said, cancer patient, who you might want to help them. Who else might? Somebody who's depressed might come in. So there's a strain that really helps with depression. So I just want to, I know that probably wasn't one of your questions, but I just want to.
I think that's good.
That's one of the little myths, like it's
Yeah.
young people coming in. No, that's not true.
No, I think this is all good information because even for me, growing up during that time where say no to drugs, it's the gateway. It really had me like, oh my gosh, no, you should not be doing smoking, doing any of that. So
Me
now
too.
to see the change, it's like, oh, like it really is helping people. It's been around for years, right? I think going back to like the Native Americans who were using it, you know, so it's always been used for medical reasons, but then it got placed on the controlled substance list, which brings me to my question. What are your thoughts? Do you think that it will eventually be removed from that list, that federal government will make it legal?
I think it will. I think in the next 10 years or so, it'll be legal on a federal level. Mm-hmm. That's just because more and more states are adopting their own individual state laws to allow it. Mm-hmm. I think the holdout will be like the Bible Belt area. Like I said, like South Carolina, my home state, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, mm-hmm. Those Louisiana, those kind of places. But they're still researching from, you know, they have people in those states that are researching, presenting stuff to their legislative governments. But I think it'll be more widespread, or it'll be legal in the US maybe 10, maybe 15 years at the most, but I think 10, which will make it a lot easier for owners of dispensaries and cultivators and manufacturers, because one of the things we probably didn't talk about, or I didn't bring up, and that's my fault, but is how it is to, I told you, you have to go deposit stuff in your bank. You can't, my bank, you can't really go to like Wells Fargo or Bank of America or Chase or wherever you bank at to really do those transactions. So you have to bank with more smaller banks, more regional or local banks. That's how the system works. So you have to, because the bigger banks are obviously gonna do more investigative. If you start putting a lot of money into your bank account, they're gonna report it to the federal government. And not to say that they shouldn't, but you have to be mindful in this industry to use more local or regional type banks.
Okay. So again, this is our special 420 episode. So with 420 coming up, we will be releasing this, if not the day of, the day before. Are there any events or things that you are promoting or participating in that you want to acknowledge?
Well, everybody's having different things all across the country. No matter what state, what country you're in, there's events going on. I'll be doing something in California. There's a 420 event going on there. It's going to have different celebrities, I'm sure, but we're just doing something in Los Angeles. Nothing really fancy. Wherever you find, I don't want to push one place and have more people come. Just find your own event, or even if you don't smoke or anything like that, just learn a little bit more about the industry. And that's what I would hope more people learn, because like you, Shantae, I grew up like that, hey, don't do this, but don't smoke, don't do marijuana, don't do drugs. But you know what? Your cousin or your uncle, your friends you see over there drinking alcohol, it is, you'd be like, wait, that doesn't make sense either.
That's illegal too.
Yeah. So that's all I would say is you just find your event, or just do some research just to look and see for some of the uses. Like I say, there's uses for depression. There's cannabis strain for depression, cannabis strain for pain. You always hear people say they're in pain, chronic pain. There's Kush for that. There's for your appetite. If you don't have an appetite, someone who's struggling with losing weight a lot and can't keep weight, or they're not ever hungry, there's Kush to help them want to eat. There's different things out there to help people. It is really a healing product out there. But I can't wait to tell you guys what's going on with me in 2022. Once legal lets me talk about it a little bit more. And that's only, and I'll say this, I'm coming out with some stuff in different states. And so once everything, the contracts are all signed in different areas and everything is approved, and then licenses are signed, and then I have some stuff to tell you. I'm really excited.
Okay.
I know I'm just excited because I know what it is, and I just you know how you want to say something, but then you don't want to get in trouble with your parents. Nope. Be like, no, you can't say it.
Listen, we want you to protect your throne. So yes, protect yourself, and when you're ready and able to, we'll be here.
Yeah, there's a lot of branding. There's a lot of branding going on right now and stuff like that. And we don't want anybody to purchase those brandings before it's official. So
right. Okay.
Did y'all have any more questions? Anything?
No, I just wanted to also, since we're talking about, legalizing marijuana, also kind of acknowledge that there are people who are in jail or incarcerated or has a record for selling or partaking in marijuana, even though it's legal in certain states. And I just want to acknowledge those people. And I hope that one day the legal system will catch up with the other part of the legal system, which is collecting money on the selling of this, even though that people are still locked up. So I just want to acknowledge that. I just thank you so much. I don't know if you have feedback on that too, Malcolm.
No. So so like I know in Maryland, I know in Baltimore County, I think the DA Mosley, I think that's her name. What's the lady's
Marilyn Mosley.
Yes. Okay, so I'm saying the right name. She's been really pushing to get a lot of people out of jail for that. And I agree with you, Lori, because I think it's really sad because a lot of the people who were locked up are of brownish hue. And you can see like the counterparts who do that or have harsher or things in their possession, and they're still out here roaming the streets. So I do agree. And especially since they're the ones who really are benefiting right now. Like I said, a lot of these conglomerate are 95% Caucasians, are owned by Caucasians. Maybe 3% are African American, and then maybe 1 or 2% are Asian or Hispanic owners across the country.
Wow.
So, and that really bothers me. I would just say, yeah, that really does bother me. But let me just say, just side note from that. I'm really, if you're ever interested in this industry, do your research, visit multiple places. Don't just visit your local area. I've visited and to investigate. I was in Denver, of course, California, Toronto, the Netherlands. You have to broaden your scope, Jamaica. You have to really look to understand the products that you're trying to sell. And you don't have to really be a big smoker, because obviously I don't like, well, that's not obvious. I don't like to smoke per se, but you have to be able to test different things to understand if someone comes into you or if someone asks you for help, okay, this really works. So, I could say, I'm trying to relax, so maybe I want this. So people come into dispensaries just like they come into bars with their own issues. So they're going to come, or I should say like the doctor's office, they're going to tell you what they're looking for, what they're trying to, the effects that they're going to have. So don't be close-minded to say, oh, I'm just going to stay in my local area, and just go with what I know in my local regional area. Be out there to adventure, because there are different products out there that you might not know about. Like you ladies didn't know about the barbecue sauce
at all.
Did not.
And so,
Barbecue sauce.
Did you know about the wine?
No. Listen, wine. Sir. What? You gonna have to send us a whole menu.
And samples.
So just so you know, the wine is the hardest thing to get, because obviously wine ages and goes for anywhere from $250 to $10,000 a bottle.
Ooh, okay.
And the $10,000 is the really good stuff.
Right.
Oh my God.
And wine is really, so let me just let's spill a lot, but yeah, wine is a huge industry.
Wow.
in cannabis as well, but it's really low key. So people who ordered bottles 2 years ago, they're about to start getting their bottles now, and they paid $500-$700 to wait.
To get that.
And the $250 bottle, I'm gonna say, don't do that one.
from experience, huh?
From experience, don't do that one. You be like $250. That's a lot for I could go down to the store. Don't do that one. I mean, it's good, but it's gonna look. I know you guys did probably care about this, but it's gonna be more greenish in the look. Mm-hmm. Now play with your mind. Versus $2,000 bottle is gonna look red, and you're not gonna know it's infused with THC, and you don't think, oh gosh, that hit me right there. You know how you used to do. Your mama used to hit me on that. That'll hit you really good. But the industry is a lot. There's a lot of different things. Anything you can think of is in the industry.
Yeah. I did see an article once that talked about accessories. So people wanted certain ways, like what is it, the grinder, so you can specialize in that, like all the different things. So it's like, didn't even think about that. You're thinking so much about the product itself, but there's a whole other.
So you can have your own business. That's part of the manufacturing part. So you can have the person who builds your grinders. You have your own industry just on grinders. You can have your whole industry just on pipes, like small little pipes that look like maybe this size. Mm-hmm. Just put it in there. Then you have people who build bongs. Then you have people who have the wrapping papers. So it's like I said, the industry is like $4 trillion. It's gonna expect it, and that's conservative. Right now, it's really going to be a lot more in coming year. And the more and more states open up, the more that 4 goes to even bigger numbers.
Yeah.
That's why I want to make sure some of the African Americans get involved.
Bingo. Thank you so much. You provided us with so much wealth of knowledge. And
I'm glad to help. Sorry to talk so much.
No problem. You gave us so much. And if it wasn't something we didn't know already, I'm sure a viewer out there may not have known. So you're just educating all of us. And again, we want to acknowledge you because we acknowledge Black excellence. Yeah. And because of, as you said, there's a small percentage of minorities within this industry. And so we want to commend you by naming you our first King of the Week for what you've done to get into this business, to grow it and learn and sharing with the rest of us, and the future that you have, your plans that you have, that you'll come back and share with us when you're ready. So our King of the Week, our first King of the Week, is Mr. What you gave your whole name? Lawrence Malcolm Williams.
Lawrence Malcolm Williams. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This was actually really good because I don't know much about this industry. So I think this is really good. And sometimes people have a preconceived notion of what something is without having much detail. So that's why we were interested in having you on our show today.
Thank you for having me. If you have any questions, my email address is cacannabis0420@gmail.com.
Okay, we'll add that in the description as well. Yeah. And we would just thank you again. And
thank y'all for having me.
You guys go out, like he said, celebrate 420 in your own way, in your own
way.
And
me, I might be in the bath.
With a bath bomb.
In the bath bomb. There you go.
I will.
It's the moisturized lips.
With some moisture. Look, hey.
Fantastic. Oh my gosh.
And you'll be shocked. The chapstick people make a lot of money.
I'm sure.
Hundreds of millions of dollar industry. Because you can sell it to multiple dispensaries.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow. Well, we definitely will be following up in the future with more information from Mr. Williams here about the industry and as it continues to grow. And before we leave, though, we do want to thank you again for joining us and to remind our viewers to do what?
Protect your throne.
See you next week and enjoy 420.